Technology adoption life cycles are a fundamental area to understand as well when you're examining customers and you want to understand who buys the product when along the life cycle of the product and for what reason. The technology adoption curve was introduced by Everett Rogers in his book, Diffusion of Innovations. The central idea was that people tend to adopt new technologies at different rates, and the speed of adoption can be viewed as a normal distribution. The primary differentiator of where someone would fall on this distribution is based on their individual psychological disposition to new ideas. Well, what does that mean? It means that when a new product comes to market, particularly an innovative product or a high-tech product, there are going to be people at the front of the line. They'll stand in line. They will wait. They will pay a premium. They will be the first to buy the product. And they might be buying a product that's not going to work flawlessly. That's the nature of what we would call innovators, willing to take that risk, to spend their time and money on something unproven because they want to be first. They're willing to give the new thing a try. That represents about 2.5% of the market when you look at all of the people that may eventually buy that product. Next are the early adopters. Now, early adopters aren't as risk-accepting as innovators, but they're close. They're selective about which technologies and which products they're going to start using. They're considered the one to check in with for new information among your peers or colleagues. And they can serve as a conduit of information on what works and what doesn't work, and what are some best practices in adopting that new thing. And they encompass about 13.5% of the total market. Next in line is the early majority. The early majority is going to wait a bit. They're not going to buy version 1 of the new thing. They might buy version 3 or 4. They're going to wait a year or two. They want the price to fall a bit. They want the interoperability to be a bit better. They're willing to embrace new technology as long as they have a solid understanding of how it's going to fit, and they may also want to have heard and seen it in practice with some of their friends and colleagues. Now, the fourth area is the late majority. At 34%, it's about the same size as the early majority. They are not the last people to buy the thing, but they're close. They're going to be influenced a bit by what are the norms, what's an economic necessity, what's a peer pressure. They're the ones that might have bought the iPhone 8 years after it was introduced. So, again, not last in line, but they surely aren't trying to be near the front. And they want any uncertainty about the idea to be largely resolved before they're willing to adopt. Last in this category are the laggards, representing about 16% of the market. They are going to make their experience decision on what to buy and what to use after everyone else has already given it a try and put it into practice. They are often very conscientious with their spending. They may not be ones to take risk. They're not looking to pay top dollar for anything. They want to see it proven, see that it's effective, and wait till the price falls so that it's affordable. And by the time that the laggards come around to buying the thing, that's about the time that the innovators have moved on to the next thing. So, with that, keep this in mind when you are exploring your market and thinking about your customers. Recognize that to sell your product, you need to identify the innovators first. Who wants it? Who needs it? Who's going to be willing to pay that premium? Who's going to be willing to accept that the product's not going to be perfect in its initial version? And focus on them. Focus on how to get your product in their hands first. And then in turn, as you have entered the market, recognize that there are different people with different psychological dispositions that are going to have different incentives or hurdles to why they might buy your product, and make sure that you have them adequately understood within your product marketing plans.